When you look at just this outing, it's clear you had all of your stuff working. Can you describe just navigating through their lineup and being so efficient tonight?
登板振り返って、効率よく球の質も良かったんですけども、どう思いました？
全体的に調子が良かったのかなと思うんですけども、やっぱりいいペースでは来てたので7回までいければベストだったかなとは思います。
Felt really good overall. I just hope that I was able to get into the seventh.
In that sixth inning, how did you find just kind of the stuff playing? So we obviously saw the emotions with that final strikeout.
6回スリーアウト取った時も感情的でしたけども、その回を振り返ってみてどうでした？
そうですか、ライン線抜けて幸い2、3塁で収まってはいたので、もう最後は三振だけ狙いに行って、投げました。
Yeah, double down the line. Thankfully, the run didn't score, so it was a big out for me to be able to get that punch out.
Talk about wanting to get into the seventh inning. I mean, what do you think the need is from your side to be able to get back out there and just, I guess, pitch count was at 93, but to put yourself in a position to push some more?
どういう工夫で7回投げれるかっていうか、なんか。
どうですか、今日はもう 0-0 だったので、球数よりももう1点もやらないことの方が重要だったので、ゲームを見ながら打ち取らせるところはしっかり前に飛ばせて、早いカウントでアウトが取れれば長くは投げれるとは思いますけど、今日のゲームはそういうゲームではなかったので、1イニング1イニングどっちが先に点を取るかのゲームだったのかなと思っています。
Yeah, just considering the game score, it was really important to not give the first run of the game, so I was really focused on that. Now, if I had the lead, then I think I would have been able to, pitch to contact and reduce the pitch count. But today it was just reading the situation, the game score. I just had to prioritize on getting outs.
Were you telling Will what you wanted to throw during that mound visit before that last at bat?
そのマウンドでウィル君に指示をしていたっていうか、どの球種を投げたいかと言ってました。
いや、それはもうピッチコムでやるので、自分が投げたいボールはピッチコムで出す感じかなと思います。
No, I do that with the pitch com.
Well, Dave, first just with Shohei Ohtani, and even when you look at this game, I mean, it was clear he was excellent tonight. What were you just seeing from him and how he's continued to just build off of each outing this year?
He was outstanding. You saw it from the outset. Just his where his head was at, the velocity. It was going to be hard to get runs off him tonight, and unfortunately, we couldn't support him on the offensive side. But he was. Can't say enough about how good he was tonight on the mound.
With Jack Dreyer, what were you seeing from him, especially just, I guess, really in that at-bat against Patrick Bailey and how Bailey was able to get to him?
I think it was just one of those things where, he saw a lot of the same pitches, the slider, and then, he got count leverage and then tried to bury it and left it up, and he put a good swing on it. So, tonight he left a fastball up to Lee, and then the breaking ball or something it was to Ramos, and then obviously right there we needed a strikeout, and that's what they felt was best to get the strikeout, and didn't get it there.
What did you make of the offense the last 2 nights?
We just really haven't. Tonight actually, the line score certainly wasn't great, wasn't good. I thought there were a lot more balls hit well tonight versus last night. Production was the same. It was just. I don't have an answer right now, and we got a tough one tomorrow versus Webb. So we got to find a way to keep fighting, keep competing, and hopefully we take some good at bats tomorrow.
Quality of advance at all these last couple?
I thought each of the nights, there was a couple pivotal at bats that I think that could have pushed a run across and we didn't come through, and situationally, and so that certainly impacted the outcome of both these games. And up to this point, I think we've been pretty good situationally. But these last two, when you're not hitting homers and you're not, scoring a bunch of runs, you got to be good situationally. And, the last two, the opportunities that we did have, we just couldn't come through there.
Last week and a half or so, Tony and Tucker at the plate. We haven't seen too many hits there. What are you seeing from those two guys?
Yeah, I think Shohei. I don't know. I think that the aggressiveness is still there. I think at times, there's a little bit of too much pull in there, and then I think he makes a concerted effort to stay on the ball, see it a little bit longer, and then gets beat a little bit with the fastball. So I think for me, I've said it for a long time, when he stays to the middle of the field, there's no one better. So with Tuck, I think that he's just, he's just clearly not comfortable, and he's frustrated doing extra work with the hitting guys, but I don't right now have an answer. I think that, when he does get a pitch in the zone, in his hitting zone, he's just not, whether it's not putting a good swing on it or, getting beat. So yeah, I don't really have an answer for that.
How much does kind of like the offensive, when you guys do struggle and those two aren't going, how much tougher does it make life, obviously, when you have like your two guys at the top that aren't kind of generating chances there?
It's tough. It's certainly tough. Because you're both those guys obviously are tremendous players, and they're getting the most at bats, and so for them to be productive makes everyone else. It makes it easier and more helpful, and creating stress and building innings and things like that. So, Shohei's still getting on base at close to a 400, clip. But yeah, obviously with Shohei, you expect. We always expect more from Shohei, but it's just one of those things. These last couple of nights, we just haven't really swung the bats well. We haven't.
With Ohtani coming in 91 pitches after the sixth, and it was also his most high-stress inning of the game. When you're weighing a decision to take him out, how much are you weighing the game strategy, but also the need to have him on both sides of the ball for the entire season? Yeah,
that was kind of my math. You could see that early on he was not stressed, but the velocity was up. I haven't looked at it, but it's probably his highest velocity game, from pitch one. And then you take that sixth inning where you can see he was emptying the tank right there, because we clearly haven't been scoring runs. And so for me, the short view is it's easy to kind of take a chance with him in the seventh inning. For me, I just felt that we've got to take the long view with him also. It's April. And so I still felt good about Jack right there and finishing with Vesia and Tanner, or Tanner Vesia. And we just unfortunately couldn't take care of the seventh inning. And that's baseball. But for me, it wasn't too much of a decision as far as toiling to send him back out there. After I saw that sixth inning.
When you look at that last at-bat, like how kind of demonstrative he was during the mound visit with Will, to the way he kind of celebrated coming off, is that about as animated as you've seen him, especially in the middle of a pitching start like that? Absolutely.
And I think that, as we all watch pitchers, and, certainly starting pitchers, and when they, get to a crescendo, a climax in a game, and they exhaust that adrenaline, that emotion, it's hard to manufacture that again the next inning. And so then you add in the stress, and so, again, it's April. I'm not going to push any of our guys to the point for something else to happen, that we don't want.
Hello and welcome to Access Sportsnet Dodgers, brought to you by Mercury Insurance. John Hartung alongside Jerry Hairston Jr., Nomar Garcia-Parra. The Dodgers' struggles continue in San Francisco. They've now lost 4 of their last 5 games. They scored 1 run last night in the series opener, shut out for the first time this year tonight, really wasting an outstanding pitching performance from Shohei Ohtani. Was brilliant through 6 innings in this game. And the Giants, they got the one big swing of the game against Jack Dreyer off the bat of Patrick Bailey.
Yeah, Patrick Bailey, obviously, he's had some history against the Dodgers. He's got big hits, but I think the story really was the Dodgers' offense, or lack thereof. They could not really manufacture anything, get anything going with the bat. Shohei Ohtani was outstanding once again. Back-to-back nights, not being able to support your starting pitcher, I know that hurts as an offense.
No doubt. And that was the story last night. Same story today because the starting pitching was outstanding both nights. Today, you know, they couldn't give themselves many opportunities, and they only had 3 at-bats with runners in scoring position. And you're really not going to win games when you just manage just 4 hits. When you get 4 hits, it's really going to be hard to score some runs just that way. And they need to figure out something to kind of get this offense going collectively because, you know, listen, you tip your hat to the other opposing pitcher, executed their pitches, but I think they also made today's pitcher look a little bit better than some of the pitches that he did. I mean, he was good. We knew he had a good split finger, kept the ball down, got some ground balls, induced contact. Nothing against that, but I think they took some pitches that they probably should have. They fouled off some pitches that they could have handled, and that's something that they have to look and say, okay, we got to figure something out and really fight, come out on Game 3.
Yeah, Tyler Mahle came into this game with an ERA over 7. Certainly threw the ball much better than that tonight, but did leave some hittable pitches in the zone. But Shohei Ohtani, Nomar, outstanding, is pulling double duty once again on the mound tonight. 6 innings, does not allow a run. He's still only allowed 1 run in 4 starts this year.
Yeah, he looked great once again. I mean, that fastball, he had some life in that fastball, and he was getting it up to 100 miles an hour at times. So he had the velocity, but then it's really been the breaking ball because that fastball, as you're looking for it as a hitter, you have to be ready to try to catch up to it. And then he throws you a devastating breaking ball that just is breaking off the table. And it's different looks. It's different breaks on that. It's a slider, one that sweeps a little bit more, one that it just changes everything. He's got the split finger to add to that. So really good job once again by Shohei Ohtani.
You know what's amazing? There's kids out there worldwide are imitating his batting stance. You know, the show, put the foot down, fire. If I was a young pitcher, I would imitate his delivery. I would. It's slow, methodical. He's got a nice rhythm and flow to it. And then before you know it, it gets on you as a hitter. He's balanced, and then he explodes at the very end. Now, obviously, I know he's 6'4". I know he's a big dude. But David Cone had that delivery. Yeah. Coney wasn't the biggest guy. Coney's probably 6 feet. But what it does, it protects your shoulder, protects your arm. You use your entire body. That's the delivery. If I was a young pitcher, I would imitate. And there's a guy in our rotation. I think he needs to go to something similar to not be so herky-jerky, have that rhythm and flow. And I think everybody knows what I'm talking about. But what an incredible performance once again from Shohei Ohtani. This guy does what he does at the plate, and he is so locked in as a pitcher. Fun to see.
Yeah, Nomar, you mentioned him with the 100-mile-an-hour fastball. In the 5th inning of this game, his fastball was averaging 100 miles per hour, and you could tell that he realized it. Will Smith realized that he had a great fastball tonight. It was way up from the average velocity we've seen this year, and they threw it 52% of the time as opposed to regularly 42% of the time.
Yeah, he was throwing his fastball. They recognized that, and as you should. The other thing, too, is why we love Shohei, aside from what he does on the field, but he watches our show. In the pregame show, you had Oral Hershiser saying that he needs to get strike 1 more often. He needs to get ahead. We followed that up, say, yes, we like to see him get ahead, maybe be more efficient, maybe also pitch a contact because he's forcing these guys to hit. He got ahead of these hitters, so he was getting ahead, forcing them to swing the bat, try to put that ball in play, but we also know that he has swing and miss stuff as well to go with it. But the fastball command to get ahead of the hitters was key.
While he was great with his arm for those 6 innings, Jerry, all good things do have to come to an end at some point, and his on-base streak came to an end at 53 games
Which
tonight.
is truly incredible, and it's still tied with Sean Green, who had a terrific career. And it's a shame because Shohei Ohtani, obviously, he did an incredible job on the mound tonight. And here, this ball smoked. Devers does a great job of making that play. I thought that was taken to right field, possibly a double. Here, it's frozen there on a strike 3. And this pitch right here, I know Sho's upset. 1-0 fastball, right down the middle, and he doesn't square it up. So it's unfortunate. Guess what? Tomorrow has another chance to start a new streak.
All right, Dodgers fall to the Giants, shut out for the first time this year, 3-0. Speaking of Shohei Ohtani, let's go to San Francisco because he's speaking with Kirsten Watson and the media.
Shohei, when you look at just this outing, it's clear you had all of your stuff working. Can you describe just navigating through their lineup and being so efficient tonight?
登板振り返って、効率よく球の質も良かったんですけども、どう思いました？
全体的に調子良かったのかなと思うんですけども、やっぱりいいペースでは来てたので7回までいければベストだったかなとは思います。
Felt really good overall. I just hope that I was able to get into the 7th.
In that sixth inning, how did you find just kind of the stuff playing? So you obviously saw the emotions with that final strikeout.
ね、6回3アウト取った時も感情的でしたけども、その回を振り返ってみてどうでした？
どうですか、ライン線抜けて最後は2、3塁で収まってはいたので、もう最後は三振だけ狙いに行って、投げました。
Yeah, double down the line. Thankfully, the run didn't score, so it was a big out for me to be able to get that punch out.
Talk about wanting to get into the seventh inning. I mean, what do you think the need is from your side to be able to get back out there and just, I guess, pitch count was at 93, but to put yourself in a position to push some more?
どういう工夫で7回投げれるかっていうか、どう
なんですか、今日はもう 0-0 だったので、球数よりももう1点もやらないことの方が重要だったので、ゲームを見ながら打ち取らせるところはしっかり前に飛ばせて、早いカウントでアウトが取れれば長くは投げれるとは思いますけど、今日のゲームはそういうゲームではなかったので、1イニング1イニングどっちが先に点を取るかのゲームだったのかなと思っています。
Just considering the game score, it was really important to not give the first run of the game, so I was really focused on that. Now, if I had the lead, then I think I would have been able to, pitch to contact and reduce the pitch count. But today it was just reading the situation, the game score. I just had to prioritize on getting outs.
Looking ahead on the schedule, it's a 12:30 start time tomorrow with Tyler Glasnow against Logan Webb. Dodgers then will be back home to host the Chicago Cubs and the Marlins. Saturday's Roki Sasaki bobblehead night. Monday's Japanese Heritage Night. Friday's game will be on Apple TV. Saturday on Fox. All the others right here on Sportsnet LA. 6 scoreless innings for Shohei Ohtani. The ERA is down to 0.38. Plenty more reaction coming up from San Francisco. We'll hear from Dave Roberts next.